Hello everyone, welcome back to Double Sleeved. Today we're joined by none other than Alan. For those that don't know, he's been a force to reckon with from Dragon Ball and now taking over One Piece as well. Alan, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. Yeah. Came ninth at the Treasure Cup, online Treasure Cup, so feeling pretty good about that. But it is one shot off, or one position shot off the Luffy, so that does hurt a little, but still did well.
And that wouldn't be your first Luffy now, would it?
I still only got one Luffy. Yeah, I came second at one of the earlier online regionals a while back.
Yeah, so you're pretty well versed with the One Piece
Last time I
game.
believe I was playing. Yeah, yeah. Last time I was playing Kaido, so I thought I'd change it up.
Yeah, nice. And you brought none other than Doffy, obviously, and it took you to ninth place. So let's jump through the deck and see how you got there.
Sure, sure. So, Doffy, it's a blue leader. It's one of my favorite leaders at the moment in One Piece, just because of how much value it generates off the leader skill, playing cards from the top of your deck for which is just it's honestly just a straight +1 and can be have even more value depending on what you get from the top of your deck. So to start off with, we've got our cards that look at the top cards of the deck. These are you want to see at least one of them. You want to open with at least one of these every single game because it allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. So that allows you to see map like 2 turns ahead, and then from there you can just play some bodies out for like decently cheap whilst attacking for a decent at least 7k with your leader. So yeah, these 2 cards are really important for Doflamingo, and it's just pretty much just figuring out just like strong forecast warlord for you to play. So yeah, and just another thing, I think some people have played the new one cost Doflamingo in set 2. I'm personally not a fan of it, but I can see the arguments for it. It's a one cost with 2k body that it has no counter. It looks at top 3, but it's also a warlord as well, and it has some effect where it can bottom deck a 1-drop.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, the fact that it didn't have counter was the main reason I wasn't a fan of it, because in the meta these days, there's so much red floating around that I don't think you can afford to have cards without counter. But that's just personal preference. Even though it does increase the consistency of the deck by allowing you to look at more cards. And now just going into the standard warlord package. So most of these are pretty standard in set 2s. So the Gecko Moria, these Gecko Morias are absolute must includes, because this is just honestly just so much value on play. Grab any 7 warlords or Thriller Bark Prize from the drop from your drop areas, from your trash is amazing. 6k bodies are really good in this game at the moment, because your leaders are 5ks. Most of the time people will be swinging into the 5k body, so this just makes it so much hard to clear. This is a 2k counter that can double up as a body. Boa is incredible value if she lives, and this new Jinbei TP, which is really expensive, but it's written against Luffy's, and also against some of the low to the ground green decks like Kinemon, with their Okikus and their cheap blockers. I also ran 2 copies of Kuma. This is just because I wanted some extra warlord targets, and also you can catch people, you can bluff people with this, because if they see Kuma, there's always risk that if they swing into you play off the leader skill, sometimes people are always discouraged to swing into him, because if you play a pacifista out for him, they kind of wasted a swing into a body that just generate you a bigger body out. It did come up once today, once over the Treasure Cup, where someone avoided swinging into him initially, but then realized later on that they still needed to clear him. And I don't run the Pacifista engine because I didn't find that I had enough space for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just for some other cards that I that I chose to run in this meta.
Yep. So just a bit of a bait
So
there.
so those are just like a brief overlord of the main warlords. So for our top end, I played 2 copies of Doflamingo and 3 copies of Mihawk. So this Mihawk is pretty commonly seen at like 3 to 4 in at 3 to 4 in most Doffy lists. I've decided to run 2 copies of Doflamingo because again this is against red and against and sometimes against green and even a lot of other colors. Tempo is really important, and Doflamingo being able to be played out a turn earlier is really good in just managing your opponent's board. And a lot of you can't wait until your 9 or 10 dawn turn to play Mihawk. You really need some early cards to just remove threats from the board. And whilst returning to hand isn't as good as bottom decking a card, against decks like Whitebeard, returning to hand is essentially like is almost as good because they just have the extra card in hand because Whitebeard, especially Strawbeard, plays on a curve where they need to drop Whitebeard at 9. So if you bounce the card to their hand with this, then they can't really drop it. They'll find it a lot harder to drop that card again. So yeah, so these cards, Doflamingo was pretty handy in again just for tempo because it doesn't cost as much as 9, so you can play Doflamingo and also use your Leader's ability the same turn, or play Doflamingo and play another Doflamingo blocker. So yeah, this was my choice of I guess top end threats, and it was just more for this faster meta at the moment.
Mhm.
And moving on to just some other cards you play. I played 3 copies of Law. So blockers are always good in this game. This Law has no counter. The reason I didn't run 4 was because red is pretty prevalent, and Law is one of those cards which it can still be good against red if timed correctly, in the sense that either you can stockpile multiple of these, or if you can have multiple bodies on board. Like if they have if they have a Whitebeard out, and you, let's say, have like some other block on board, like a Boa Hancock or a Doflamingo. A lot of the times they will have an Otama, so they can just Otama and then use a Whitebeard's two Don effect to blow it. So sometimes if you really need defense, you can stockpile blockers on, and it's also handy in the turns where you really need to protect board. And so if you play a blocker Law and they tap 3 for a Vista, it's less Don that they can attach on their other bodies to clear your board. And and in the game at the moment, just board presence tempo is really important, especially for blue. And to round out the other decks, I run 7 other 2K counters. The reason I run this is because again, the meta's a bit more aggressive. I feel like when your opponent normally wants to clear your bodies, they'll normally swing 2K above. And because Doflamingo, you're not really punished for going too low in hand because for 2 reasons. One, like Boa Hancock and like Love Beam can redraw if you have low cards in hand, and also Doflamingo plays cards from the top of the deck, so you're not using up cards from your hand to play them anyway. So I found that if they swing like 7K into my 5K bodies, I would like more 2K counters to, like, sometimes I would just use a 2 and a 1 to protect it, especially if it's a valuable card like Boa Hancock. So 2K extra 2K counters are just cards I want to see, and they're always just handy against red because a lot of the time you'd rather see it than not. Is Whitebeard just swinging 6s into you.
Mm-hmm. Any specific reason for the
to round out the deck? 3 Love Beams. Just sorry.
Sorry, I was gonna say, any specific reason for the 4 Mr. 3 and the 3 Alvida?
3 Alvida and the. So I think the 2K counters are generally pretty interchangeable. I guess I ran Bentham because it's another body you can play in an emergency scenario, and sometimes being a 5 cost does mean you can dodge. Like you can dodge some effects, like for example, Ivankov's like the Impel Down Luffy has a bounce effect that bounces 4 drops. Like Brick Fist only bounces 4 drops. You can dodge some of those effects. So like I never played him, but to be fair, I never really played Arvita either. I guess Arvita could come up if you're up against Zoro, they started spamming cards on board, and for 2 Don you can play something and you can play her, and she can help as an attacker. But overall, I never played these cards during the day. They were just all used for a 2K counter. Yeah, and moving on to the event cards, we have 3 Love Mela, and 2 Brickfist. So Love Mela is just it's almost like a in Dragon Ball, it's like a free pseudo combo or super combo, because it's just if you have 4 less cards in hand, which it can happen if you're just defending board. It's just a free 4K that replaces itself by drawing 1, so that's great. And 2 copies of Arabesque Brickfist. Again, this helps a lot for the tempo part of the game. So against Strawbeat, if you can, like, if they play a 4-dross and you bounce it back to their hand, it's just 1 less body you have to worry about attacking you. Against other matchups like green or blue, just clearing their board, even temporarily putting it back to their hand. It's really expensive for your opponent to play 4, to tap 4 for it again. And if they do, they just have less Don to be able to clear your board. So, and it's also a card that can help you bounce a block if you like bounce their last blocker if it's cheap enough, if you want to go for game. Definitely put in a lot of work in some of my matches today, in my matches on over the weekend.
Yeah, nice. It's definitely a very interesting list, and we've seen a lot of the 7-drop Doffy SR kind of creep back into the deck. So it's cool to see those kind of starter deck cards find their place in a competitive list. What kind of decks did you go up against throughout the day, or that you remember?
Overall, I think I went against 2 Zoro, 2 Luffy, 1 hybrid Whitebeard, like Boat and Strawbeard, and that was my loss of the day. And I think 1 Doflamingo Mirror, there was 1 Kaido and 1 Kinemon. I think that adds up to 8. Yeah, those 8 decks.
Yeah, so pretty diverse throughout the day. Any kind of tips for anyone? Obviously, Doflamingo is such a skill-intensive deck, and you need to sequence kind of your the top of the deck as well as your plays. Any tips for someone that's thinking of picking this deck up?
So sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. I think the internet's breaking up a little bit.
Oh, that's all right. I was saying, do you have any tips for anyone that's thinking of picking up the deck? Obviously being such a skill-intensive deck, that you have to manage the top of your deck and your hand as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, sure, for sure. So I guess Doflamingo, seeing these cards is key. I'd say for Doflamingo, the main way you want to play it is you want to establish. You just want to have a board. You want to maintain your board. So if the first hit is against your leader, just take it, and then after that, just maintain board. Try to because your leader allows you to conserve cards in your hand. So you want to see these cards. You want to open it with these cards. Play these cards out. I guess for managing the stack of your deck, it's something that probably comes with practice. So I have initially when I started playing the deck, it's easy to forget. Like you often don't remember the full 5, but you normally just stack it in a way that like. So if you're not attacking this turn with Perona, you normally be like, okay, you'll send the 4th cards that you want to play from the top of the deck, and if you are attacking, then you keep in mind that like 1, 3, and 5 are the ones that you want to play. If you're a lot of the times you have to just account for playing like Mihawk, so you kind of just like skip a card in. You kind of just like stack it. So for example, it's like 2 and 5. You just wait a turn for Mihawk, so because obviously you can't use a leader skill if you play Mihawk that turn. But yeah, overall, Doflamingo, it's a deck where you want to out-temper the opponent by having a bigger board, and also just by having good strong threats on the board. And the deck itself inherently gains a lot of value with cards like Boa Hancock, and Gecko Moria, that you'll actually find that has a good time into red. Obviously, maintain your. So yeah, I guess those are overall the things I can say about the deck.
Yeah, great. Well, it's good to get your insight, and congratulations once again. Obviously, it's a shame about the ninth place, but I'm sure there's no doubt in my mind that we'll see you in the top tables again at the next One Piece event that you play. Hopefully, you've got a new deck for us as well. Obviously, you've done well with Kaido, you've done well with Doflamingo. I'm sure we'll see you on some new deck once we get into set 3. But it's always great to have you on, Alan, and thanks again for your insight into the deck. If you did enjoy the video, as always, anyone watching, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.